Hello again, everybody. Welcome to Gamecock Central Radio. Emerson Phillips with Gamecock great Joe Rhett talking men's basketball today. South Carolina getting ready for an 8:30 tip Saturday night at Vanderbilt. Key SEC matchup for the Gamecocks, which have dropped 2 straight home games in league play now. And, Joe, as we record on this Saturday early afternoon, 10 days ago the Gamecocks were alone in first place in the SEC. The Gamecocks were in the driver's seat to win the SEC regular season championship, but now they've dropped 2 straight at home. Last week, a 4-overtime heartbreaker to Alabama, a game in which South Carolina rallied from 17 down early in the second half to force OT, but then blew a 7-point lead in overtime and lost in 4 overtimes to an Alabama team that, was probably on the bubble at best for the NCAA tournament. And then Carolina went on the road and rebounded pretty nicely to win at Starkville, Mississippi against Mississippi State. It felt like the ship had been righted at that point, Joe, but then the Gamecocks come home and lose to Arkansas on Wednesday night of this week. So the Gamecocks have lost 2 of the last 3, Joe, and I think some Gamecock fans are starting to get nervous because it's starting to resemble last year a little bit, where the Gamecocks kind of played 500 ball down the stretch run of the season and ended up being left out of the NCAA tournament despite the fact that they've won 24 games a year ago. So what's going on with the Gamecocks right now, Joe?
They have reason to be nervous, like you said, from what happened last year. But to me, I think it's a totally different team. You hear rumors about, these guys are tired, they're not happy or whatever. But I'm not buying that as far as not happy. You had a chance to, in a position to control your own destiny, get in the NCAA. So he was first in the SEC a couple of days ago, and I'm not buying that they're unhappy. Are they tired? Yes, I think their legs are gone. That's what me and a couple of my guys have been saying a lot lately. You can tell that when you getting out to an early start on the other night against Arkansas, that happens because that's just adrenaline, your momentum and everything just going your way. First 2 minutes, all of a sudden, reality kicks in. You're just tired. And are other teams tired? Yes, certainly are. But the legs are going. You can tell by the way the shots are going. They all are short. The shots are short. They're missing layups, and they just don't have that energy right now. And a lot of that is due to just because of the way Carolina plays. They play tremendously hard on both ends. We know how they play on defense. That's just a staple. That's something that they have to do, play great defense. And the way we play on offense, we have to exert so much energy because it's so difficult for us to score as well on the other end. So I do believe that they're a little tired. So they're just going to have to find some kind of way to get their legs back. And, because it's late in the year now. So we got 5 games left. They're going to have to find a way to get their legs back and start making some shots again.
After the Bama game 10 days ago, Coach Martin said after the game that he took the loss squarely on himself because he felt like he had practiced the team too hard the 2 days prior to that Bama game. That game ends up going into 4 overtimes, and the Gamecocks lost a close game, obviously, to Alabama. So, I was willing to buy the tired story after the Bama game, but now after losing at home to Arkansas this week, the Gamecocks didn't look tired beating Mississippi State after the Bama game, but then they come back home after beating the Bulldogs and lose to an Arkansas team that a lot of folks feel like will be the 4th team from the SEC that gets into the NCAA tournament. Some folks still argue that Arkansas may be on the bubble. I don't know. The next few weeks are going to hash all that out. But, Joe, I was willing to buy the tired story after the Bama game. But, now that we're a week or a week and a half removed from that game, help me to understand how the Gamecocks are tired at this point. I know the story is out there that, part of it is due to the fact that the Gamecocks have a short bench. They don't have much at all coming off the bench in terms of front court players. You got Mackey, you got Felder, you got Hassani Gravett coming off the bench. All those are guards, okay? So the bench is not very deep. I understand that, and the starters have been playing a lot of minutes. But, Joe, I don't hear any other teams in the top 25 in the country talking about being tired in mid to late February. And I heard a local sports talk show host on the radio here in Columbia this week say that the Gamecocks are just not having fun playing basketball right now. And I would remind you that 10 days ago, South Carolina was alone in first place in the SEC and was in the driver's seat to win the Southeastern Conference regular season championship. Is that not fun? To me, that sounds like fun. And I'm hearing on the radio in Columbia that the Gamecocks aren't having fun playing basketball right now. How's that possible?
Yeah, it's not possible. But when you have losses, of course, you're not happy. When you lose, especially at home, you have 2 losses back to back at home. Of course, you're not going to be happy. But as far as this team goes, I can tell you back in my day, was one of my favorite coaches was George Felton at the time. He was a young coach, and he used to practice us year round, and we went hard every day. And we was a really good defensive team back then too. And from experience, we were tired towards the end. We used to get out to good starts as well. We had jumped out, had done well in the Metro Conference at the time, and coach didn't know how to. Not saying that that's what Frank doing, but I'm just saying I've experienced that, having no legs at the end of the year because he plays so hard. Do other teams play hard? Absolutely, but I don't think you can't find too many teams right now that play as hard as this Carolina team on the defensive end. So it takes a lot of energy, and when you practice hard, you play hard, it takes away. It's hard to explain it, but it does happen. You can go so hard you can just lose your legs, but somehow, some way you're going to have to get those legs back. And I think this team's experienced enough. Coach Martin been around enough, and like you said, we're not getting a lot of points off the bench. We're not getting hardly no production off the bench. I know in the first half, and I didn't see the final box scores, but I know in the first half we had 0 points off the bench, and I think Justin hit a 3. Not many points the other night off the bench, and that takes a toll. There's a lot going on with this team. We just got to get mentally back involved and going in a tough environment tonight against Vanderbilt is another tough game for us also.
Yeah, it is. Vandy's playing better ball lately, and they shoot the three extremely well, particularly when they are on. When they're hot, they shoot the three about as good as anybody in the SEC. So we got an 8:30 tip Saturday night tonight for South Carolina at Vanderbilt. Emerson Phillips with Gamecock great Joe Rhett. This is Gamecock Central Radio, and we invite you to download the Gamecock Central Radio app that you can find on the App Store and on Google Play. You can listen to all of our podcasts here on Gamecock Central Radio for free on your cell phone, anywhere you receive cell phone service. The podcasts are free, and the app is free. To subscribe to our podcasts, search for Gamecock Central Radio on iTunes, SoundCloud, and other popular services, or just visit radio.GamecockCentral.com. So, Joe, the Gamecock bench is being outscored almost nightly now, every time out in SEC play. We've come to expect that to some degree. So, my question to you again is, how do you recharge the batteries this late in the season, Joe? We have reached a critical juncture of the season where good teams are starting to play their best basketball of the year. You want to do damage in postseason play, you want to make noise in March, you got to get better as the season goes on, and you got to be playing your best at the end of the year. It certainly doesn't feel like the Gamecocks are playing their best basketball of the year right now. So if the team's got dead legs, how is Frank Martin going to make sure this team gets rested and amped up and ready to go for the remainder of the year?
Well, you know what you went through last year by not making NCAA tournament. So if you want to make it 64, you want to find some way to energize yourself to finish this year out strong, because you don't want to be in that situation again with 20-something wins and not make the big dance. You handle your business early in the year, and all of a sudden now you want to fall off, and that's not good. Like you say, most teams are peaking at this time of year. You want to peak and play your best basketball right now. So somehow they just have to take care of their bodies and rejuvenate their bodies and get back to playing South Carolina basketball the way they've been playing earlier this year.
All right, Joe, Vanderbilt beat Arkansas a week and a half. In fact, the night South Carolina lost to Alabama, Vanderbilt won at Arkansas. Arkansas very tough at home. They were 12-2 at home going into that game. And Vandy's first 7 field goals that night against Arkansas were 3-pointers. Vanderbilt shot the lights out, and they blew Arkansas out in Arkansas's gym. So, this is a Vandy team that on paper, they don't really have a lot of all-SEC caliber players, but they play solid. They're shooting the three. Joe, they can beat anybody in the league on any given night. So this matchup tonight is a real problem for South Carolina potentially. And, Joe, this game scares the daylights out of me. I'll be honest with you.
Oh, it does for me. Historically, we always have problems going down to Vandy. Very tough place to play at. With you sitting up underneath, you get the opposing team baskets. It's just a unique gym down there. But this team is a pretty good team. They're 6-7 in the conference right now. And that's saying a whole lot for this team to have 6 wins so far in this season. Vandy's got a guy. Luke Kennard, his 7'1" guy, he's going to be a big problem for us. I'm not sure how we're going to match up against him. You don't want to put Silver on him because, he stays in foul trouble all the time. So it's a guy that's going to stretch them out. He shoots a lot of threes. I think he averages about 2 blocks. So 2 blocks per game. It's a 7'1" guy that's going to give us a lot of problems tonight. But it's a good Vandy team, and there's always a tough environment to go down to Vandy and play because just an awkward gym, and they shoot the lights out. They shoot really, really good there. So hopefully we got down there and got us a good shoot around this morning and got comfortable with the rims, and hopefully we can come out and shoot the ball as well as they do tonight.
Yeah, critical 8-day stretch here for South Carolina with the Vanderbilt game tonight on the road. Then the Gamecocks will play Tuesday night at Florida. Florida tied with Kentucky for first place in the SEC. The Gamecocks are a game back right now. And then the Gamecocks will host Tennessee next Saturday. So pretty difficult 3-game stretch right here, Joe. And, it feels like the Gamecocks, if they can find a way to win a few of these games down the stretch here, they're going to be in good shape in the NCAA tournament. Not only are the Gamecocks expected to be in, but they'll probably get a pretty good seed. But if the losing continues, Joe, the Gamecocks seed will plummet over these last few weeks. So, very important game still on the schedule here, Joe. You got to keep pressing forward.
Oh, no doubt. When we was on that little stretch when we were the number 1 team in the SEC, I hate to say it, I hope I didn't jinx them, but I thought that we were good enough at the time to run the table. Unfortunately, we had some bad. I think there's some bad loss when you lose at home. It's a bad loss. But this tough stretch right now, it will tell how tough this team and how hungry this team is right now. Because you got Florida coming up, Tennessee coming up, so it's a tough stretch for us. So we don't want to sit around in 3 weeks. I think Selection Sunday's in 3 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, 3 to 4 weeks. So we don't want to sit around without sitting on our hands, not knowing that we did as well as we can throughout the season and not get that call on that Sunday. Because it was tough last year. As a former player, it was tough for me not to see those guys get in, knowing that they did, I thought they did well enough to get in, of course, last year. But, the committee looks at the tough losses that we have towards the end of the year. We cannot continue to do that. We have to, first of all, take care of business days, take care of Florida on Tuesday. That's definitely a tough game on Tuesday, definitely a tough game tonight. But it's a hell of a business night. Get back to playing, Gamecock basketball. The scout report is out. They know that we're not a good offensive team. Teams are adjusting to our defense, and that's part of the problem too. We just got to make more adjustments during the game and just continue to play hard as we normally do. Even though we're losing these games, we're giving ourselves a chance in these games. That's the positive that I get out. Those 2 games that we lost, we got back in it when we were blowing Alabama out, and when Alabama was blowing us up, we got back in. And that quadruple overtime, that takes a lot out their legs too. So we got a chance. That's all. Yeah, I think we got a good chance to rebound tonight and start tonight.
Got to have it tonight. Yeah, Vandy's 13-13. They're 6-7 in the league, and certainly a winnable game for South Carolina. But if they come out flat, Vandy is capable of beating South Carolina tonight. So big game tonight, and amazing how good Sindarius Thornwell has been this year. He's the current SEC Player of the Week. He scored 72 points in 2 games last week, 44 against Bama, and then 28 against Mississippi State on the road on Saturday of last week. And Thornwell continues to carry this ball club. He's going to need some help down the stretch for the Gamecocks to get into the NCAA tournament and hopefully win a game in the tournament for the first time since 1973. Joe, it's exciting. For me, I enjoy being in the hunt in the SEC and being able to talk about possible tournament seedings and all this. And it's been difficult to see the Gamecocks struggle here these last 3 games, but this team still has a chance to make history, Joe, and I think that's the most important thing that people need to keep in mind.
Yes, and the buzz in Columbia was really exciting in the last couple of weeks, and everybody was excited. Hoping this team, getting the NCAA tournament. A couple of losses changed the thoughts for a lot of people just that quickly. But you mentioned Sindarius. I think, of course, he's probably first team SEC. I think he is the most valuable player in the league of what he's doing for this team. He's carrying this team, and he just needs a little help, Emerson. He needs just somebody to step up, and step up on a consistent basis. We got guys that are capable of scoring. We know what PJ can do. We know what Notice can do. We know what all those guys are capable of doing. And they've shown flashes of it throughout the year. So we can get those guys to get back on the same page and give this guy, I hate to see a guy have a great year like this and don't end that well. So hopefully those guys actually do it for him. Whatever they can find to motivate themselves to get going. Sindarius has been here for 4 years. He's put in a lot of work. You can see he's healthy this year. He's playing well, one of the best players in the conference. And if that's motivation, let that be the motivation. Get Senderis in the NCAA tournament and do it for him. And somebody, like I said, somebody has to step up.
All right, 8:30 tip tonight, South Carolina at Vanderbilt. Then the Gamecocks are at Florida on Tuesday and home against Tennessee next Saturday. So Joe and I will come back next week. We'll talk about the Florida game. We'll talk a little bit about the Tennessee game. We'll take a look back at this Vanderbilt matchup as well. Joe, thanks for your time today. Great talking Gamecock hoops with you. Thank you.
Always a pleasure, Emerson. Have a good one, man.
All right, the pleasure's mine. That's Gamecock great Joe Rhett, and I'm Emerson Phillips, and this is Gamecock Central Radio. We'll be back to talk more Gamecock hoops next week here on GCR.